President Trump has suggested that arming adept and highly trained teachers with guns would prevent future school massacres. And as incentive, he proposed giving out bonuses to teachers who undergo the gun training.
Now, the idea, as you know, has been met with both criticism and praise. There's a school in Texas, though, who's already putting the president's proposal into action. Here's CNN's Ed Lavandera.
We'll do whatever's necessary to protect our kids and staff.
This is the stark message that greets you when you walk into one of the two school buildings in Callisburg, Texas. Superintendent Steve Clugston oversees what the school district calls the Guardian program. It's a small force of volunteer school staff allowed to carry a concealed firearm, and Clugston says they're equipped to confront an active shooter.
We don't want to be at the mercy of, somebody that's intent on doing harm. We refuse to be that person.
In the wake of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, the idea of arming teachers has sparked outrage.
Am I supposed to have a Kevlar vest? Am I supposed to strap it to my leg or put it in my desk?
I don't believe teachers should be armed. I believe teachers should teach.
But in some mostly rural communities across the country, the idea of arming teachers is welcomed, even by some students, like this freshman and junior at Callisburg High School who asked that we not identify them.
I feel protected. I don't feel like they're going to threaten me in any way. I feel like if someone came in, that I know that they're going to handle it. So I feel very protected.
I feel really safe knowing that I can come to school, and if there's an incident that does happen, that they'll be able to protect us.
Out of the roughly 1,000 school districts across the state of Texas, there are about 170 that have a policy of allowing teachers or administrators to carry a firearm on campus. Here in the small town of Callisburg, their Guardian program was implemented about 4 years ago, in large part because the city doesn't have a local police department. They rely on county sheriffs. And in a county this large, it can take many minutes for those deputies to respond to something like a shooting scene inside a school. Clugston says the school's Guardian force undergoes active shooter scenario training once a year and routine target practice at gun ranges. But critics say that isn't enough. The school officer at Stoneman Douglas, who was trained far more extensively, waited outside the building as the gunman unleashed a deadly massacre. Steve Clugston is convinced that if his guardians face the same ordeal, they won't flinch.
We're trying to put our teachers in a position to be better equipped to protect their kids. And I have complete faith in our team that they're willing to stand up and protect our people.
The armed teachers here haven't faced the worst case scenario. So the question remains, how will they react if they're forced to face a killer? Ed Lavandera, CNN, Callisburg, Texas.
All right, joining me now is Dr. Marquenta Sands Hall. She is the Executive Director of Safety and Security at Atlanta Public Schools. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So let's start here where Ed left off. Will armed teachers, that's the proposal from the president, do you believe they will make schools safer?
I think the conversation around arming teachers is a much deeper conversation than just a yes or no.
Okay.
I would hope that we would want to arm our teachers with the tools that they need to become the experts that they need to be in the subject matter areas of teaching and learning, and not making them public safety officers. We need to leave that whole public safety response to law enforcement personnel who are trained to deal with emergencies.
And some teachers say they have enough to do already, in addition to now the president, and many who agree with him, want to make them, as you said, these public safety officers as well. I want you to listen to Brandon Huff. He is a senior at Stoneman Douglas High School. He survived this shooting that happened on Wednesday. Here's what he said.
You're despicable. You didn't do your job. You were trained for this. You were armed, had a bulletproof vest, you were protected more than anybody else who died, who lost their lives, and you did nothing. You froze, you got scared, you did nothing at all. And you could have saved a lot of lives.
That's his message to the Broward County Sheriff's deputies who reportedly waited outside as this shooting was happening. Now, we have not heard from them yet, but what's your response to what you heard there from Brandon?
So very unfortunate. Law enforcement officers are trained to go directly to the threat and to address the threat. While I can't speak to what happened on that day, what I can say is that when you have a well-trained unit, law enforcement officers, then they are prepared to go and address that threat. And it all just really comes down to training.
To training.
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of training, the president yesterday at the White House suggested that the reason you should arm the teachers and not potentially invest more in school resource officers, and you were a school resource officer, is that the teachers love their students. Here's what the president said.
A security guard doesn't know the children, doesn't love the children. This man standing outside of the school the other day doesn't love the children, probably doesn't know the children. The teachers love their children. They love their pupils. They love their students.
Again, you were an SRO. Did you know the children? Did you love the children?
Of course. Yeah. SROs know their children. Part of their job is to build relationships, working with students and staff. They know their children, they know that environment, and they do love the children. You have to love the job in order to be a school resource officer. Very hard work. It takes dedication and commitment to public service in order to do the job.
So what are some of the solutions? I'm not asking you to solve the entire problem of mass shootings, but are there some incremental changes that can make schools safer?
I think so. I think it all begins with a conversation, ensuring that school safety is at the top of the educational agenda, first of all. And then secondly, making sure that all systems are working collaboratively together to support school safety. So systems, plans, resources, protocols, all working together across all of the support functions and business units to support schools is what builds a comprehensive strategy for school safety.
You absolutely need the resources, but a plan means nothing if people don't execute.
Absolutely.
Dr. Marquenta Sands Hall, thanks so much for being with us.